over there. And because of that, I had never gotten myself the grandma's wolf pet that since I was able.
I'm already watching the video. Anyway, so I won just a few auctions, just a few of the auctions, not that many of them. I didn't win that many. I didn't get that much OP stuff just by spending like 30k coins, like 1,000 coins on each thing. I actually bought most of this for like 1k each. This was, I think, 5k for each of these. And look how good they are. So later, I'm gonna grind catacombs so I can get catacomb skill 5. Oh, it only needs skill 1 while in the catacombs. Nice. And also this. Most of this requires catacombs, so that's what we're gonna do after this. Because I also wanna unlock this one, the one that only is skill 8, that only requires fishing skill 6. I wanna unlock that. I'm at like 525 out of like 750 XP. Till I get to 6. I can help. What the heck? What's this? What the hell? Oh, these are some good spiders, bro. Oh my. Whoa. We can take a break from fishing for a bit, right? Right, just getting the not full set of Holy Dragon armor equipped. Better falling 10 on the boots. Like a smart Holy Dragon helmet and smart boots, making me have 531 minute. Not the flex. Well, the sword actually gives me a lot of that. Look at this. The legendary gives me 108 intelligence. That's gonna be so much better. Ooh, but the false one gives me even more, but it does. And it's more OP. Damage 59. That one was the best plays an E. Strength though. Oh, and it has crits. I can just switch to the different swords, right? I can just put one over there and switch between them. Oh my. Oh my goodness. I've got the guardian out, right? Okay. Killed one. Aye. Okay. Hey, food sack. Do you want a food sack? I'm gonna give you a food sack. Food sack. Flip. I don't even know what food sack means. Pretty sure it just means anything you want it to mean. Enough times. Get out the way. Yes, I'm a mythological creature. Spawned. Oh my goodness, that person is still there. I completely forgot about that. Oh goodness, die. And they're OP silverfish. No. How do you get OP silverfish? That was the cringiest fight I've ever had. Lol. Whoa, I killed 8 of those. Very good. Anyway, I'm gonna switch it to my fishing armor that I got yesterday. It's only me.
able to get to legendary could have been giving me some insane combo stats. And as I'm talking about this, it's really starting to set in how long this video has been in the making, because that update is like 6 weeks old at this point. Sheesh. Anyways, with those 2 tasks now out of the way, I started the grind to get Overload 3 on the 4th bone meringue. And this ended up being a super short grind. It literally took me like an hour to get all 4 of the books, and I even got one in the gold chest, which is like crazy lucky. Okay, feather falling.
Oh, let's go! Are you kidding me? In the gold chest! Bruh,
That's insanely good. That is insanely good. My time with floor 5 was only just beginning though, because it was at this point that I started my grind for the last breath. And I'm not even sure if I've ever covered the last breath in these videos before, but basically it's a bow with a very useful ability that will lower the defense of your target by, well, a lot. And the reason that I really want it is because it's especially useful on the floor 7 boss fight when you're fighting Necron, because, well, if you can lower his defense by a lot, he's gonna die a lot faster. And while I could just find someone with the last breath and bring them into my floor 7 party to do all the heavy lifting for me, I kind of feel like that'd be against the point of the hard mode series, so I was determined to get one for myself. The problem is that the last breath is a very rare drop, and I'm pretty sure that in my first 300 floor 5 runs, I never even saw one. But you can also get the last breath by hitting 500 total floor 5 runs in your collection. And after some thought, I decided that this would be the best way for me to get one, because along the way, I could also get some more overload books for my bone meringues. It took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to hit that 500 run mark though, partially because I was only doing S runs to try and maximize the amount of overloads I was getting. But in the end, it all paid off, because along the way, towards the very end of the grind, quite possibly my craziest moment ever in Skyblock occurred. Oh, get back! Get back! No.
oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Sea Guardian!
Oh my god! No way! Oh my god!
Guys, look at this.
Fishing! Let's go!
Can you see how much I'm shaking?
Screenshot.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yes!
Look at that! Holy dude!
So, yeah, that happened. For those of you who don't know what this ice spray wand is, basically it's an orange Jesus drop in dungeons, meaning that it is far below 1%, probably about 1 in 1,000 is what I've heard some people say. Maybe it's not quite that rare, I don't know. All I know is that it's super rare, and throughout like all the dungeon runs I've ever done, I don't even know if anyone in my party, besides myself now, has ever gotten one. And the reason I was like going crazy is because this is one of like the key items to have if I want to play floor 7 archer. Now, I don't 100% need it, and obviously I wasn't counting on getting it because it's so insanely rare and there's no real way to grind for it. But the fact that I pulled it was just like the best feeling ever. I still just thinking about the fact that I got this thing makes me so happy, guys. So yeah, this honestly is my craziest moment in Skyblock ever. I thought nothing was ever gonna surpass like the Shadow Assassin chestplate or maybe the Baby Yeti pet drop, but honestly, this did it for me. This was mind blowing. And of course, as soon as I got out of that dungeon run, I immediately maxed out the ice spray and went into another dungeon run in order to test it. Okay, here we go. This will be a good chance. Oh my god, dude, that actually is so nice. I can't kill these guys very fast, but then I can just use it again, right? Dude, I understand now. The voodoo doll has nothing on this.
We're just gonna
Dude, look at that.
There's in real life.
That is so cracked. That is so cracked. Jesus. Dude, that is so nuts. Imagine that if I could use it in combination somehow with the last breath later on too. So freeze them, lower their defense. I can just like annihilate bosses. And speaking of the last breath, it wasn't too long after this that I hit my 500th floor 5 completion and was able to claim it from the collection. So, collection, boss collection, and claimed. Please be good.
Okay.
Nothing. You've got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
Let's go.
Actually scammed. And honestly, hitting that 500th run really put into perspective for me how lucky I was to get the Shadow Assassin chestplate to drop, because if I had to do 750 runs to get that thing from the collection, I don't know if I could have ever done it. Anyways though, just like I did with the Ice Spray Wand, immediately after claiming it, I maxed out the Last Breath and went into another dungeon run in order to test it. So, let's get some hits in right now.
78K.
So it's like 17K. Then we Ice Spray him.
Even if I spent all that just on the...
Hit him with a bunch of shots in the Last Breath.
I wouldn't do that. But now I've...
Ice Spray again if I can. No.
From all of them.
This is so scuffed.
Bro,
The lag.
it's so rude.
Okay, there we go. He's Ice Sprayed.
So rude.
Yeah, look at that.
Well...
It literally doubled the damage. It's like, I'm doing it really scuffed because it's lagging and I'm trying to take a really good look at the damage numbers, but it definitely doubled the damage there.
Serious.
He went from taking 17K to 42K, you saw, wow. Yeah, so it definitely at least doubled the damage, maybe even more. But I still was not yet done getting items for my setup, and next up on my list was the Death Bow. And actually, the Death Bow might be the single most important item I ever get in this Floor 7 grind. And that's because the Death Bow is used for damage swapping. And basically what that means is after I throw my bone rings out towards my enemy and they're on their way coming back to me, I'm supposed to be holding out my Death Bow so that all the damage those bone rings do on their way back is based on the stats of the Death Bow. And the reason that's so overpowered is because the Death Bow's ability is to do plus 100% damage to undead mobs. And like literally everything in dungeons is considered an undead mob for some reason. Like even the lost adventurers that are in dragon armor are considered an undead mob. The nice part about the Death Bow though is that I didn't have to do some crazy insane grind for it. I was just able to buy it from the dungeon shop for 5.5 million coins. Usually I could have bought it for 5 million coins, but since I purchased it when Dante was mayor, it cost me an extra 10%. This is also where all of those overloads that I had collected while trying to get to the 500 floor 5 runs finally come in handy. Because since a lot of the damage I'm going to be doing with the bone rings is going to be based on the stats of the Death Bow, I want to make sure I max that thing out as much as possible. So unlike my bone rings that I only got overload 3 on, I want to get overload 5, the max level on the Death Bow. And thankfully, over the course of those 200 floor 5 runs I did for the Last Breath, I was able to get just enough overload books to do that. But the one thing that I had forgotten is that in order to reforge the bow to spiritual, I was going to need a spirit stone, which is a floor 4 drop. So it was back to my favorite floor ever, floor 4, to get myself a spirit stone. Thankfully, these things aren't really that rare, and I was able to get one fairly quickly. Unfortunately, it did cost me 1.5 million coins, which is way overpriced for this thing, but I really didn't have any other options, so I purchased it and maxed out my death bow. And now that I once again had a shiny new maxed out item, it was time to test it out. Boom, 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 boom. I just want to try this. 17 mil on the way back? Oh my god. Wait, I gotta try that again. Okay, boom, 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 boom. 17.7 mil. Oh my god. That's not too mean. That's much better than what I was doing before, man. So yeah, the floor 7 archer setup was really starting to come together nicely, but there were just a couple more things I needed to do before it was fully ready. The first of those things was to make my return to floor 6, this time in order to get livid fragments and swarm books. The livid fragments were for my shadow assassin armor in order to give each piece a small stat boost, and the swarm books were actually for all 4 of my bone rings and my death bow, because aside from potentially soul eater, which is a floor 7 enchant that I can't get right now anyway, swarm is the best ultimate enchant to have on bows. So I proceeded to spend way too much time over the next couple of days doing normal floor 6 runs and floor 6 fragment runs to get these items. And speaking of small stat boosts, I was still missing like 50 to 60 fairy souls, so it was probably time to get those before I attempted a floor 7. And so for pure nostalgia purposes, here's a bit of a montage of me getting fairy souls set to the classic Time Dio fairy soul music. And then, after collecting every last fairy soul that I had been missing, it was time to turn them in and get those sweet, sweet stat boosts. And I took my dedication to small stat boosts even further when I finally decided to just break down and max Hot Potato Book my full set of Shadow Assassin armor, every single bone meringue, and my death bow. I did already have a few Hot Potato Books applied to some of these things, but for the most part, they really did not have many on them. So in total, I had to farm up 73 Hot Potato Books in order to max all of these things. But just like that, I had now acquired a floor 7 archer setup worth hundreds of millions of coins. And that's it for now. My first ever floor 7 dungeon run is going to be happening very, very soon though. So if you want to see it go down live, make sure you're following me over on Twitch. The link to my channel is of course down in the description below. Other than that, guys, I really just want to say thank you so much for all the support recently. It really means a lot to me. And yeah, I hope to see you all soon. Peace. Today, I'm going to be doing something that I honestly thought was impossible. So basically, over the past couple of weeks, I've been trying to decide what I want my next big goal to be for this hard mode profile. And this has actually been pretty tough to figure out because I've progressed so far on this profile that it almost feels like I've done everything that there is to do. But there is one pretty major thing in Hypixel Skyblock that I have yet to accomplish, and that is completing floor 7. Now, of course, if this wasn't a hard mode series, this would be pretty easy since I could just get a really good player or two to carry me through the run. But obviously, that's not allowed here. In fact, for all of my dungeon runs, I even purposely go out of my way to only get players with a similar catacombs and gear level to my own so that I can make sure I'm not getting carried. And up until now, while I certainly have struggled at times to get adequate gear in order to complete a floor without being carried, I have always managed to find a way. Floor 7, though, is going to be a bit of a different kind of challenge. First off, my chat has let me know that the Berserker class, especially without access to floor 7 gear, is going to be pretty much useless for floor 7, so no matter what, I'm gonna need to change a class. Secondly, my chat has also informed me that while Mage is a viable class for floor 7, the gear I would need to get in order for it to be viable is all floor 7 gear, so that obviously is also not going to work out. And finally, while I could probably come up with a healer or tank setup that would certainly allow me to survive floor 7, I would inevitably be contributing almost nothing in terms of damage while playing one of these classes, and as such, would be getting carried. So naturally, that leaves me with only one option remaining in order to complete floor 7 without being carried: the Archer class. You see, with the right setup, the Archer class happens to be extremely overpowered, even with only drops and items acquired from floor 6 and below. But this setup is not going to be easy to get. First, I'll need to acquire a Flower of Truth, an item that is obtained by getting 9 Ancient Rose drops from floor 6. This certainly will be a bit of a grind to get, but it isn't too crazy. But that's pretty much where the easy items to acquire ends, because the next thing I'll need to acquire is 4 bone meringues, which means not only am I gonna need approximately 1 million bones to craft these, but I'm also going to need 20 spirit bones, which, depending on who you ask, has somewhere between a 1 in 15 to 1 in 50 drop chance. Meaning that I could potentially have to do around 1,000 floor 4 runs in order to get all 20 bones. And the setup still doesn't end there. I will also have to revisit floor 5 at some point and get myself the Shadow Assassin chestplate in order to reach the full capabilities of this setup. Thankfully, I did catch a bit of a break in that I already have both the legendary Blue Whale and Wither Skeleton pets from previous grinds on this profile, which are both very helpful for the floor 7 boss fight. For the regular stage of the floor 7 run, I would ideally get myself a baby Yeti pet, but I haven't 100% decided yet if I want to also commit to that grind. And of course, need to give you guys a quick reminder that we are now less than 8,000 subscribers away from the big 100k subs, so please, if you enjoy this video and have not already subscribed, consider doing so. I would really appreciate it. But yeah, that pretty much sums up everything that I'm going to need, and it's obviously going to take some time to get all these things, so let's get started. So for this first entry in our new Floor 7 saga, I set out with the simple goal of just acquiring the Flower of Truth. And as I mentioned earlier, the Flower of Truth is crafted using 9 ancient roses, which can either be obtained from the dungeon drop chests themselves or by killing the golems in the Floor 6 boss room. But either way, you're gonna have to complete Floor 6s in order to get the ancient roses and ultimately the Flower of Truth. And obviously, around 3 months ago, I was able to successfully complete a Floor 6 dungeon run by using the Berserker class and some Werewolf armor. But to be honest with you guys, I was never really satisfied with the amount of damage I was doing with that setup, so in order to kick off this new saga with a bang, I decided to do something crazy, something that I told you guys was impossible those 3 months ago. And I made the decision to switch back to the Mage class and craft a tier 10 perfect chestplate to use with it. Yes, you heard that right. After memeing on you guys pretty hard for telling me to get one, I have spent the last 3 months saving every last enchanted diamond that my minions have got me with their diamond spreading upgrade, resulting in me having over a stack of enchanted diamond blocks just chilling in my chest. So for my new mage setup, I decided to craft a tier 10 perfect chestplate and use it in combination with some shadow goggles, some super heavy boots, and some necromancer lord leggings that I had gotten from the previous floor 6 runs I did around 2 to 3 months ago. After crafting the tier 1 version of the chestplate though, I realized that I should go ahead and reforge it now as opposed to waiting until it was tier 10 and a legendary item. But as I went to reforge the chestplate, I also realized that the reforge I want for it is loving, which cannot be obtained from the regular reforge anvil. In order to get loving, you need to use the red scarf, which is obtained from floor 2 boss drops. So I quickly formed a dungeon party and started grinding up some floor 2s. And at the end of my first run, I did not get the red scarf I was looking for, but I did get a necromancer's brooch in one of my chests, which I would eventually need to reforge some of my other pieces to necrotic, so I purchased it and kept on grinding. And only about 15 minutes later, I managed to get the red scarf that I was looking for. Let's go, thank you. Thank you, Skyblock. Thank you, Skyblock, for not making this take forever. But I did still need to get myself one more necromancer's brooch so I could reforge my boots as well, so I continued grinding out some floor 2s. After completing about 4 to 5 more floor 2 runs though, I was not getting lucky, so I decided to switch over to floor 1, where I was hoping I would have a bit more luck. And thankfully, on literally my first floor 1 run, I got a brooch in one of my chests and finally had all the reforged stones I needed to reforge my new mage setup.
And then the next
Yay, you guys were right, let's go. Let's go. My pain and suffering is over. So I reforged my perfect chestplate to loving and then upgraded it to tier 10. Tier 9 and tier 10 perfect chestplate. Jesus, dude. I literally did not think this day was ever gonna come. I was so upset when people were telling me to get this. I'm like, that's not possible, guys. It will never happen. And, well, here we are. And then obviously, in order to make the perfect chestplate actually useful in dungeons, I had to convert it to a dungeon item. And I had never had to use my diamond essence for anything else, so I fortunately had a bunch saved up and was able to afford to turn it into a 5-star item. And with the perfect chestplate now completely maxed out, I moved on to my necromancer leggings and super heavy boots and reforged both of those to necrotic. And with that, my brand new mage setup was finally complete, so I stood back and just admired it. Wait, this is actually a cool setup. This kind of looks kind of baller. Like, I vibe with this. But then my chat let me know that I wasn't technically done yet, because if I really wanted to max this perfect chestplate, I would need to put some hot potato books on it. Thankfully, I had exactly 10 enchanted baked potatoes still saved up from previous Jacob's contests, so I was able to quickly turn those into hot potato books and apply them all to my tier 10 perfect chestplate. And with everything truly ready to go now, it was time to hop into a floor 6 and test this new setup out. And during the regular part of the run, everything was going according to plan. I was still kind of having to get used to playing mage, but I was surviving, and that was the important part. Unfortunately though, when we got to the terracotta phase of the boss fight, something very familiar happened. Oh, this is fine. Wait, this is literally... I'm chilling right now. Am I just not getting hit? Oh, I'm not. I just wasn't getting hit by them. God dang it. Before I had too much time though to get super down in the dumps about my brand new setup completely failing, someone in my chat informed me that I needed to use my Livid Dagger to lifesteal if I wanted to survive this phase. And much to my surprise, that seemed to pretty much completely fix my issue, and I managed to make it through the rest of the Terracotta stage and the boss fight without dying. And as I exited that run feeling pretty good, I went to open my ender chest to show chat the 3 ancient roses I had already saved up from previous floor 6 runs I did back in November. Much to my surprise though, I opened my ender chest to find 0 ancient roses inside. And after recovering from my shock, I explained to chat what I thought had happened. So they would have been like right where these summoning eyes are. And I was in the end grinding for more summoning eyes. No, not in the empty slot. They would have been right around here. And what I probably did was I took them out, and because I was in the end, I thought they were endstone roses and threw them out. But they were actually ancient roses. So yeah, definitely wasn't the happiest way to start off my grind for the Flower of Truth. So I made the executive decision to wait until the next day in order to continue grinding out floor 6s. Unfortunately, my streak of bad luck apparently didn't end there, because on my first run of the next day, once again, something very familiar happened. That's why I wanted a healer. I literally said that's why I wanted a healer, and nobody believed me. I assumed this time around, though, that the death was just due to the party not having a healer, and I kind of just brushed it off. And after we managed to finish the boss fight without getting any more deaths, my luck seemed like it was turning around as I opened the emerald chest to find some Necro Lord boots. These were obviously much better than the super heavy boots from like floor 4 that I was currently using, so I immediately enchanted them, made them a 5-star dungeon item, and reforged them to necrotic. And after successfully completing a few more runs without dying once I added these into my setup, I thought that it really was just a fluke due to not having a healer in the party. Unfortunately, a few runs later though, I once again died during the Terracottas phase. And at this point, I was kind of lost as to what I could even possibly change with my setup to make it so I could survive the Terracottas every single time. But then somebody in my chat recommended I try out the Mender's Fedora with my setup, and since I had no idea what else I could change, I decided to just try it. And much to my surprise, the Mender's Fedora worked amazingly. I was immediately able to regen any health I lost during the Terracottas phase. And I was content saying that I had finally solved my floor 6 boss stage problem. I was probably feeling a bit too confident though after this newfound revelation in my setup, because I immediately went and tried to take on a golem to see if I could maybe speed up the process of getting the ancient roses. But I quickly realized that was not going to work out. My luck had seemed to have turned around though, because at the end of this run, I finally got my first ancient rose. Hey, ancient rose, 2 million coins for it. I have no other choice. I have no other option. And that streak of luck seemingly continued, because only a few runs later, I got my second ancient rose. And a few runs after that, once again, got my third ancient rose. And I started to think to myself, wow, I might have this Flower of Truth within a day or two. But I was sadly mistaken. Because on my next day of grinding, I went through almost the entirety of my stream for that day before at the very end I got a single ancient rose. Oh, hey, you know what? For 2 million coins, that is such an absolute scam, but we got one. That's all that matters, is we got one. At this point though, I noticed that I had started to run low on funds, and since there was a possibility that I could get a Necromancer Lord chestplate from floor 6, I did not want to repeat the Bonzo staff situation where I got the Bonzo staff and couldn't afford it, so I decided to farm for a little bit to get my funds up. Unfortunately, as I'm sure many of you know, ever since the Dwarven Mines update, farming on Skyblock has just not been the same, in that you just don't make very much money doing it anymore. So after spending about an hour or so and only getting about 30 to 40% of the money I used to get farming, I decided just to sell off some random things I had stored up on the island to get myself to 10 million coins, which was my target amount. But as it turned out, I probably could have waited a day or two to start farming, because on my next day of streaming, when I started to do floor 6s again in hopes of getting the rest of those ancient roses, I I got 0 of them. Yep, you heard that right. I spent the entire stream playing floor 6s, and we got mostly S pluses, but not a single ancient rose. Which, at this point, I started to get a little bit worried because I still needed 5 more ancient roses, so if I wasn't even going to be getting 1 per day, this could be a long process, and this was supposed to be the easy grind in terms of the floor 7 saga. Thankfully, this bad luck didn't last, and on my next day of grinding, not only did I get my 5th ancient rose, but I also managed to get my 6th ancient rose, meaning I was now 2/3 of the way to the completed flower of truth. At this point though, I had already been grinding for this thing for like a week straight, so on my next stream, I decided that this was going to be the final ancient rose grinding stream, and I was going to get those last 3 ancient roses that I needed. At first, it wasn't looking too great though. For the first maybe 15 runs of the stream, I did not get a single ancient rose. But like I said, I had committed to getting this grind done by the end of the stream, so I just kept pushing on, and I eventually managed to get my 7th ancient rose, meaning I just had 2 more to go. Yes, finally. Oh, thank God. This probably would have been the run I would have got another one in the bedrock chest though too. And this was when something totally crazy happened. Because as you might remember, towards the beginning of the grind, I had tried to kill a golem to speed up the process of getting the ancient roses. But I had failed pretty badly, so I basically had just given up on that idea. But for whatever reason, when I was almost done with the grind anyway, I decided to try and kill a golem again. Except this time, instead of using my spirit scepter, I tried to use the left click of my livid dagger. And what would you know, this was insanely effective, and I could have been doing this the whole time as I managed to kill the golem with relative ease. And this first golem that I had ever killed dropped an ancient rose. This was so unexpected for me that I didn't even notice it had dropped and ended up not picking it up until I killed another one of the golems. Oh, I got an ancient rose! I got a rose! Let's go! Wait, that's accidentally got a rose, what the heck? But the craziness did not end there, because on that very same run, this happened. All right, did I do a prediction? I did, okay. Oh, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Watch me get 2 on this run. Okay, I did. I was gonna say, if this is the run I finally get 2 in the chest, I'm gonna be so upset. There we go. I got 2 on this run, but 1 from doing the golems and 1 from the chest. There we go, baby. 9 ancient roses. Wow. So yes, I had now finally acquired all 9 ancient roses needed to craft the flower of truth. So you're probably thinking the next thing I did was immediately craft the flower of truth, but actually at this point in the stream, I was exhausted from this grind and wanted to save the crafting portion until the next stream where I would have a bit more energy. So I decided to start preparing for my next grind in the floor 7 saga, which was gonna be the bone meringue / spirit bone grind. And I placed down some skeleton minions in an AFK farm because, as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm going to need approximately 1 million bones for all 4 of those bone meringues. I also decided to put down some rabbit minions in case I decide to grind for the baby yeti pet, because I have not yet unlocked the pet luck potion in the raw rabbit collection. But then, at long last, more than a week since I had started grinding for it, it was finally time to craft the flower of truth. We've climbed back from the depths of being a god-awful dungeons player, and we are on our way to redeeming myself and becoming the ultimate high-pixel Skyblock unofficial Iron Man / hard mode player. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. It didn't make a ding noise, but the flower of truth has been crafted. And now I have to go ahead and spend like the next 3 hours enchanting this thing. So, yay, Pog. So I got to work on enchanting it. I was originally just going to go 1 by 1 with the enchants because I assumed that was the most efficient way to do it ever since the enchanting update. But my chat told me that the best way to do it was actually just to make 1 big book and then use a single Titanic experience bottle to get all the levels I would need. So I spent the next 30 minutes grinding up all of the enchants I needed and then applied it to the flower. And we're done. 1 Titanic bottle. And next up, once again, based on chat's recommendations, I reforged it to dirty and 5-starred the item. I also decided to recomb the flower and make it a mythic item because I still had 5 Recombinator 3000 saved up from the floor 5 grind. At this point, similarly to the tier 10 perfect chestplate, I thought I was done, but my chat informed me that I wasn't quite there yet. First, they told me that I would want to get Ultimate Wise on the flower in order to make its ability cost less, since I would literally be using it like every second. I was not about to try and get Ultimate Wise 5 though, because that was going to require 16 Ultimate Wise 1 books. So I set my sights a little bit lower and went for Ultimate Wise 3. Thankfully, I already had 1 book just sitting on my island, and I then proceeded to spend the next 30 to 40 minutes or so grinding up the last 3 in floor 2 dungeons. Pog! We did it! Woo! But then, almost an exact parallel to the tier 10 perfect chestplate, my chat informed me that I needed to hot potato book this thing. Unfortunately, I had used the last of my enchanted baked potatoes on that perfect chestplate, so I spent the next like 20-30 minutes clearing out my entire potato farm to get those 10 enchanted baked potatoes. 9 and 10. 10 hot potato books on my beautiful, beautiful Flower of Truth. Now, this thing is fully maxed out. And once all the books were applied to the flower, it was finally, at long last, time to test this thing. I started off by testing it in floor 4, where I was completely blown away by its ability to clear rooms. Oh, I see. Oh my god, wait, that's actually insane. Wait, this is actually crazy. This is floor 4, granted, but I see what you guys are saying now. Holy, that's gonna be so convenient. Okay, I understand. From here, I moved on to testing it in floor 5, and pretty similarly, I was just mind blown by what I had been missing out on this entire time. And finally, I capped things off by testing it on floor 6, and I was literally just stunned when I managed to beat the Terracottas phase in my Berserker setup simply by using the Flower of Truth. Oh my god, wait, no way. No way. Wait, this is crazy. I think this actually, I think, is the Flower of Truth. So look at that. Not Werewolf Armor, just my regular, not even that great Berserker setup, Werewolf Chestplate, and 3/4 SA, and the Flower of Truth kept me alive. That's crazy. And for now, that is where my story is going to be leaving off. Next up in the saga, we'll be starting to grind for the bone meringue. So gonna be lots of floor 4s in store there. Like I said in the intro, potentially 1,000 of them, I don't know. But just like everything in this episode, everything in that episode will be live streamed on my Twitch channel, RageTrain_. I will leave a link to it down in the description below if you want to check that out, if it sounds like something that interests you. But yeah, if you managed to make it to the end of this video, you are a certified legend, and I really, really appreciate you. This video took an absolute massive amount of time to make, so the fact that you watched the whole thing really means a lot to me, and yeah, just thank you. With that being said, I hope to see you guys over on my Twitch channel and in my Discord, where I'm always hanging out with my community members. But yeah, until next time, guys, I will see you later. Farming, quite possibly the most relaxing activity on Hypixel Skyblock. No need to deal with the endless stress of failing the tic-tac-toe or blaze puzzle and being bullied by your dungeon teammates until you cry. Forget entirely about the annoying Lapis Nons who can't seem to comprehend that you don't in fact need their help on your tier 4 Tarantula boss. Even the item beggars that spam incessantly for free stuff in the hub can't reach you when you're farming peacefully on your island. In a sea of the unrelenting toxic grinds that exist on Hypixel Skyblock, farming stands alone as the serene escape from it all. So naturally, the admins decided that this was a problem that needed fixing and introduced ranked farming. High-octane competitions occurring each hour that pit your farming skills against the rest of the Hypixel Skyblock community. And based on your performance in these competitions, you'll receive a varying degree of reward for your efforts. Now you can wallow in your sorrow as you collect endless bronze and silver participation medals while Skyblock's sweatiest players laugh in farming 60 and legendary elephant pets, hoarding every last gold medal in existence. All jokes aside though, this update's actually a really cool one, and even the more casual Skyblock players can still get a lot of benefits out of it. While some of the content, such as the 10 new farming levels, is locked behind being able to achieve gold medal status, most of it's achievable at a slower pace through bronze and silver medals. Now, you might be asking, Rage, this update definitely sounds cool and all, but how does this relate to your hard mode profile? And my answer to that is very simple. Money. You see, up until this point in my series, money has often been a key issue, whether it be affording the latest dungeon item or just simply changing the reforges on my gear. Without access to the Bazaar auction house, making coins at a fast pace and in a reliable way seemed impossible. I did eventually figure out that I could farm Cane and make around 800 to 900,000 coins an hour, but with the newest dungeon items costing upwards of like 10 to 15 million coins, this meant I was having to grind for many hours just to afford these items. But this farming update changed all of that. While the price of sugarcane to the NPC is still sitting at a lowly 2 coins, this update brought with it a slew of new items that vastly increased the amount of crops you can obtain. And the item that I had my sights set on in particular was the Turing sugarcane hoe, a hoe that when maxed out could theoretically more than double, maybe even triple the amount of cane that I was currently getting. But getting this hoe wasn't going to be an easy undertaking. Not only does its crafting recipe require 4 stacks of enchanted sugarcane, but it also requires a bunch of the new items that can only be obtained from competing and performing well in the farming competitions. Nevertheless, I had already committed to obtaining this hoe, so I got to work. First, in order to craft the most basic version of this new hoe, I would need to obtain a gold medal, and while I certainly had no chance of getting one of those from just one event, there's a handy little feature that allows 4 silver medals to be exchanged for 1 gold. So I competed in a bunch of different cocoa bean, potato, and sugarcane competitions until I had finally obtained 4 silver medals and was able to get the blueprint for this hoe. Now, the only thing standing in between me and this insanely overpowered farming item was a lot, and I mean a lot, of sugarcane farming. Because on top of the hoe needing to be upgraded with the materials that I mentioned before, you also need to farm millions of cane in order to upgrade its abilities. But I've never been one to be scared of a long grind, so I just continued farming. Unfortunately, it was at this point that this already very challenging grind decided to get even more difficult. Because for some reason, my internet had decided that this would be the perfect time to just stop working altogether. Eventually getting so bad that I was disconnecting from Hypixel every 3 to 5 minutes, and farming sugarcane looked a little something like this.
The squid can rarely be fished up in the park while it is raining.
And while this lag certainly slowed down the productivity of my farming, it was still somewhat manageable to progress like this, so I just pushed on. And then finally, after nearly 3 days of this type of endless lag, my internet was miraculously fixed and my farming journey truly began. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Hypixel Skyblock Hard Mode series. And I have been blessed. My internet is restored. Oh my god, it feels so good to be able to play without getting disconnected like every 2 to 3 minutes. And for anyone who might be interested, it turns out the reason my internet was running so slowly for like 3 or 4 days in a row was apparently there was just some dude in my neighborhood like literally using up all of the bandwidth, so my entire street had trash internet. So yeah, that's nice. Anyways though, as always, want to start off this episode by saying a big thank you to every single person who has subscribed since the last episode. We are of course still trying to hit the big 100k subscribers by the end of this year. So if you guys are enjoying the series, want to keep up to date with it, and haven't already, please do consider making that red button turn gray. Anyways though, to start us off here today, let me go ahead and give you guys a rundown of where we currently stand in terms of trying to get this max maxed out sugarcane hoe. Now on the enchanted sugarcane front, I am not doing too shabby. I'm a little bit over halfway there. You can see I have 2 stacks already in my chest here, and then I have 15 in my inventory. And I'm in a pretty similar situation with the Jacob's tickets as well. I have 2 stacks and 23 at the moment. But yeah, I honestly thought the Jacob's ticket portion was going to be a lot easier than it's ended up being. As you can see, I've done quite a few events here, mostly sugarcane ones, obviously. But I'm pretty much always either just getting the bronze or silver medal, which means I only end up with another 10 or 15 Jacob's tickets per event. And then in terms of the stats on my current sugarcane hoe, you can see my counter is right at about 3 million sugarcane. But the thing that's kind of scary about that is I think I may have underestimated how long 10 million is going to take, because I farmed for like 5 hours yesterday. So that means I probably still have like another 10 to 12 hours of farming remaining before I hit 10 mil. But this is Hypixel Skyblock, of course, so I would not expect to get any item without a very, very long grind. But yeah, I think that pretty much recaps where I'm at the moment. I guess one other thing I'll show you guys is that my current farming level is 35, although I'm getting pretty close to 36 now. And so now what I want to go ahead and do is see where I stand in terms of money making with my current setup. So for reference, before when I was using my rookie hoe here, I was probably getting about 850 to 900k per hour in cane. So I'm gonna do a classic rage train experiment here, farm for 15 minutes, and we'll see what we end up with. So yeah, let's do it. Okay, and that is 15 minutes right there. I ended up with 7 enchanted sugarcane. So now I'm actually not gonna sell this, obviously, because I want to save all the enchanted sugarcane I get towards upgrading the hoe. But I'm just gonna see how much I could sell it for if I wanted to, because obviously making money is our main goal with this. So it would sell for 358,400 coins, which actually that is super, super good. That means over a full hour, I would make 1.3 million coins. So already this setup right here is like a 50% improvement in money over what I was getting before, which, as I've mentioned multiple times, any way to make more money on this series is like crazy helpful. So I'm pumped about that. And now the sad thing is, one of the biggest things holding me back right now is the fact that I'm using a rabbit pet instead of a legendary elephant pet, because at max level, the legendary elephant's 3rd perk gives plus 50% double drop chance. The good news is though, I do have just like barely enough money, I think, to cover the 15 million coin cost of the legendary elephant. And I think it should appear in Aringo's traveling zoo again, either on this one like 5 days from now or on this one 7 days from now. So I'm definitely going to make sure to be there to buy it whenever it does show up. Okay guys, so now for a bit of a progress update. I am getting very, very close to the halfway point on the counter here. You can see I'm at 4.5 million out of 10 million sugarcane for that +1 rarity, and then obviously to get that logarithmic counter up, another 16% bonus. But now that I'm no longer lagging while farming, I'm running into a bit of an issue here where my 2 layers aren't quite enough. I mean, you can see here, it looks like it's pretty much fully grown back, but there's definitely some spots missing. And so I think the smartest thing for me to do here is going to be to make that final half layer that I know I need to make it infinite. I'm just so tired of building farms that I really didn't want it to come down to this, but there has never been a better time to build a farm now with all these new tools. Unfortunately, some of the really OP stuff like this hoe of greater tilling and basket of seeds won't work with sugarcane, so those don't help me out at all. But I can still make use of this Infinidirt wand that only costs 1 Jacob's ticket, and the Prisma pumps that only cost a bronze medal and 2 Jacob's tickets. Now the other item that would be insanely helpful for me is obviously the builder's wand here, but that costs 12,000 bits. I only have 800 left from my free booster cookie, and there's no way for me to get any more, so I'm kind of just out of luck there. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead, purchase this Infinidirt wand, purchase these 4 Prisma pumps, and I'll go ahead and get to work on making this final half layer of the sugarcane farm, and I will update you guys on how long it took me to do it. And there we go. Holy crap, guys. This ended up taking so much longer than I thought it was going to. I thought, you know, like maybe hour and a half, since I'm only doing a half layer with the Infinidirt and Prisma pumps. I thought, you know, it's going to go super quick, but those tools did not speed up the process as much as I thought they were going to. It really sucks that I had to manually plant all of the cane, and then also that I didn't have the builder's wand. I think that would have helped just a ton. But in total, ended up putting in probably about 2.5 hours just to build this like 60, maybe 70% of a layer. The good news is now should never have to build any more sugarcane farm ever again. This should be enough to be infinite. So yeah, now I can get back to working on actually just farming the sugar sugarcane. So more grinding. Here we go. Yay. Okay, guys, so just hit a huge milestone. If I open up this chest here, you will see I'm officially at 4 stacks of enchanted cane, which means I now have enough to craft the max upgraded version of this Turing sugarcane hoe. Obviously, I also need 4 stacks of Jacob's tickets, but in my ender chest here, I have 3 stacks and 51. And I believe if I go to Jacob right now, I should have another like 20 or 30 to claim. And yet, boom, there we go. I had a silver medal and a bronze medal, both from sugarcane to claim. So that's another 25 Jacob's tickets. All right, let's craft this thing. Now, hopefully in the end, this ends up paying off, because right here, these 4 stacks of enchanted sugarcane would be 13 million coins into my bank right now if I were to sell them to the NPC. But I'm making the long-term investment in this sugarcane hoe here. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh my god, that was an expensive craft. But right off the bat with this thing, I should be getting like an extra 60 to 70% sugarcane. So I'm already going to be going much faster, which is only going to help in getting to that 10 million sugarcane on the counter. And on top of that, like I said, this is the maxed out version of the hoe, which means any sugarcane I get from this point forward, I can sell to the NPC and actually start to make myself a little bit of money. So that's going to be nice as well. But there actually is still one more upgrade I can make to this thing, because obviously I've been collecting a lot of Turbo Cane 1 books by doing some competitions, and currently I only have Turbo Cane 3 on this hoe, so I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade this thing to Turbo Cane 4 as well. So now, like, the lore on the top of the text is totally getting cut off, but you can barely see at the top that it's gonna go to plus 20%, so let's apply that, baby. Now, obviously the max version of Turbo Cane is Turbo Cane 5, but unfortunately I can't even use that book on my hoe until I get a gold medal in a sugarcane contest. And I don't think I'm going to have any shot at that until I get like an elephant pet at the very least, because the requirement for the gold medal has been at like 400,000 cane in 20 minutes, and I'm getting like 220, 230k. Anyways, guys, I think now is going to be the perfect time to do an updated experiment and see how much cane I can get in 15 minutes to kind of get an estimate of how much I could be making per hour. So I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes and let's go. All right, 15 minutes is up, and in that 15 minutes, I got almost exactly 8 enchanted sugarcane here. So let me head to the hub and see how much this is worth. Now, before, I think towards the beginning of the video when I did my first test, I think it worked out to about 1.2 to 1.3 million coins per hour I would have been making. So that right there is worth 409,000. Okay, so that means I'm up to about 1.6 to 1.7 million coins an hour. That is pretty much double of what I was getting before this farming update came out. So that's completely insane. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and get back to farming. I'm really trying to hit this 10 million counter, because not only is that gonna upgrade the logarithmic counter ability, but it's obviously gonna also give me that +1 rarity and make this hoe a legendary version. So yeah, I guess it's back to the grind for me.
One eternity later.
Okay, and finally, many hours of farming later, you can see I'm now at 9,999,000 sugarcane on my counter. So one of these upcoming hits here should be the final one. I think it's taken a little bit of time to update or something, okay? Like 300 away, and come on, one of these hits, come on, we're like 20 away, boom, there we go. It is now legendary, 10 million sugarcane farm. So that upgrades my blessed bonus at the bottom to plus 16% chance for double crops, and my logarithmic counter adds another plus 16% onto that bonus. But now, unfortunately, even after all of that, I am still not yet done, because legendary hoe down there was not the goal. The goal for this is mythic hoe. So there is one last item I need to acquire in order to complete our mission. And that item, of course, is the Recombinator 3000. Now, how exactly are you going to get that item, you may be asking me? Well, for my Floor 2 Boss Collection Scarf, you can see I'm currently at 139 runs. So if I can get that number up to 250, I will get a Recombinator 3000 for free. Now, that still is another 111 dungeon runs that I'm gonna have to complete. So hopefully it doesn't take too long, but I'm thinking ideally I should be able to do a floor 2 in like, 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. So yeah, most likely this is gonna be like another 8 to 9 hours of grinding dungeons that I'm gonna need to put in to get this Recombinator 3000. But I've probably already put in well over like 24 hours into straight up farming sugarcane to get this counter up to 10 million. So I guess another 8 to 9 hours shouldn't be that bad. But before I get to work on those, one very nice thing that is going to come out of all this grinding is that I can sell all of that enchanted sugarcane from like the last 4 million cane, I think it was, since I upgraded this to the max version of the hoe. So I am going to come away with a clean 8 million coins from all that cane, which is very, very nice. Because that is going to put my bank balance back at a healthy 17 million coins, which will be more than enough to afford that legendary elephant pet. And I think that that pet should be showing up at this next traveling zoo here in about 19 hours. So I mean, I originally didn't think I was going to be able to include the purchase of the legendary elephant pet into this video, but with how long it's taken me to do all this farming now, I guess I might be able to. But yeah, anyways, I guess it's going to be time for me to start farming floor 2, so let's get to it. Alright guys, so I still need to complete another 80 or so floor 2 runs in order to get that Recombinator 3000, but Ringo has now arrived and he does have the legendary elephant, which is super, super hype. Thankfully, the 8 stacks of enchanted dark oak wood that I also need to get it were super, super easy to farm up, only took around an hour or so. So now I need to go ahead and just withdraw 15 million coins from my bank. Holy crap, that is a lot, man. I'm going to be down to only 2.2 million coins, but hopefully in the long run, this purchase is going to be worth it because that third perk on the legendary elephant is going to help me make more money from sugarcane. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Legendary elephant acquired. Holy crap. 15 million coins gone. But yeah, there we go. Definitely gonna need to level this thing up in a little bit now, but I think for the time being, I'm just gonna get back to grinding floor 2s for that Recombinator 3000. All right, so bit of an update here, guys. I literally feel like I'm starting to go insane from doing these floor 2 runs. Thankfully, I only have 15 left until I get the Recombinator. But yeah, this has been a nightmare. I have no idea how people run this many dungeons. I think part of the reason it's driving me insane though is because I'm getting almost nothing out of these runs. Like these 2 scarf studies right here are all I've gotten from chests in 96 runs. I mean, I guess I've also gotten a lot of wither essence. I'm currently at like 3,000, but yeah, still, man, my brain is melting from doing these things. When I first set out on this journey of getting a mythic hoe, I did not know what I was getting myself into, but I am just going to power through these last 15 runs. So yeah, I'll see you guys when the pain and suffering is over. All right, guys, this should be it right here. Run number 250. I'm just gonna wait for the thing to click over. Yes, there we go. Boss collection level up, scarf 4 to 5, reward Recombinator 3000. Finally, and we ended off with an S at well in a 4-minute run. Very nice, very nice. Maybe I can pull a scarf studies. Oh, I did out of the obsidian chest. Let's go, dude. What a way to end it off. 500k for a scarf studies is a lot, but I rarely see these things anymore. So I will 100% take that. Holy crap, let me go grab this Recombinator, man. I cannot believe this pain is finally over. Oh my god. Alright, so here we go, guys. Take my legendary hoe. Take the Recombinator 3000. I cannot believe I just did all those runs to try and create a mythic hoe of all things, but I really did that. Anyways, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom! The mythic hoe has been created. Holy crap, look at that. Bless bonus now gives plus 20% chance for double drops. Okay, and there we go. I turned my GUI scale down for a second just so we can see that beautiful nameplate at the top there. Blessed Turing Sugarcane Hoe in that pink color. Holy crap, I have put so much time into grinding this thing. This is insane to me. Now, originally, this was going to be the final version of the setup that I was going to see how much cane, how much money I could make in like an hour, theoretically. But, of course, this whole process took so long that I managed to buy the legendary elephant pet from Ringo. So to make that final test even better, I feel like I need to get this legendary elephant pet to, a fair level, like, at least level 50, 60, something like that. So let me head to the banker over here